So, the last few weeks have been very difficult for the Prime Minister. While every Prime Minister should expect a few scandals during their premiership, it's rare that so many will occur at once, and even rarer that they're able to survive the scandals. Nonetheless, the Prime Minister has suffered his largest ever backbench rebellion, the loss of a Tory safe seat in a by-election, near-daily Downing Street party scandals, the resignation of a key minister in Lord Frost, accusations of lying about Number 10's flat refurbishment, and, to top it all off, the highest daily coronavirus cases recorded in the whole pandemic, leading to speculation of another lockdown. It's reasonable to ask then, will and can Johnson be replaced? And if so, by who? Before we start, a huge thanks to everyone who supported TLDR in 2021. Across our channels, we've picked up a ton of new fans. So if you want more in 2022, subscribe to all the TLDR channels for updates. Anyway, when it comes to Johnson being removed from Number 10, there are basically three options. Johnson resigns, the House of Commons votes for no confidence in Johnson's government, or Conservative MPs express no confidence in Johnson as their party leader. The first two options, Johnson's resignation or a no confidence vote by Parliament, are unlikely. Things have to get pretty bad for a Prime Minister to voluntarily resign, although arguably they already have, but Johnson doesn't seem like the resigning type. Equally, as you need a majority in Parliament for a successful no confidence vote against a government, this also seems unlikely, at least for now. Some Conservative MPs are unhappy with the government on certain issues, but tearing down the whole government feels like further than the majority of the Commons are willing to go. The third option, a no confidence vote within the Conservative Party, is the only one with any real chance of happening. This is less risky for backbenchers than expressing their dissatisfaction in the Commons, mainly because triggering this starts out anonymously. Basically, 15% of Conservative MPs, currently 55 MPs, need to send letters demonstrating that they've lost confidence in Johnson's leadership to the chair of the 1922 committee. The only person that knows how many letters have been sent is the chair of the 1922 committee, currently Sir Graham Brady. Once the threshold's met, a statement is released informing the public and journalists that the threshold's been met, but not stating which MPs sent the letters in. In effect, this allows backbenchers to signal their discontent in the knowledge that their act of disloyalty won't be known by the Prime Minister. While no one knows the exact number, there are reports that some letters have already been sent, which means that if things continue to go badly for the Prime Minister, then there's a chance that letters could carry on coming in, and the threshold could be reached. If the threshold is met, then there'd be a vote among Conservative MPs as to whether they still want Johnson as their leader, and, by extension, as the Prime Minister. If a majority vote against the Prime Minister, then a leadership election is triggered, which Johnson would be unable to compete in. Conservative Party leadership elections have two stages. First, Conservative MPs vote for their two favourite candidates, and then these two favourite candidates are put to the wider membership, which means that any candidate has to be popular among MPs and the Conservative Party membership to win. Anyway, even if Johnson was to survive the no confidence vote, his authority would be significantly weakened. Whether this would be tenable for the Prime Minister is debatable. Theresa May lasted mere months after this happened to her. So this is how Johnson could be removed, and the relative likelihood of each of the ways of him actually being removed. So, if on the back of these recent scandals Johnson is kicked out of Number 10, it's worth looking at exactly who could replace him. According to the bookies, there were basically two clear frontrunners at the moment: Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss. Let's start with Sunak. Rishi Sunak is a very popular politician. In some part thanks to his above-average branding operation, which we've discussed previously, as well as Sunak's uncanny ability to get credit for successful government policies while avoiding blame for the less successful ones. For example, the furlough scheme seems to be more associated with Sunak than the Prime Minister himself. Look at these posters put up by Wetherspoons last year, for example. Similarly, the recent tax rises are more associated with Johnson than Sunak, despite the fact that he's the Chancellor, with some papers praising the Chancellor for his low-tax attitude right after he literally increased taxes. In part because of this, Sunak is currently the most popular politician in the UK, with a net popularity rating of +3 according to YouGov. A +3 approval rating might not sound like much, but for context, Johnson is on -10 and Starmer is on -25. Now, it's worth noting that this polling on popularity was done in September. Since the scandals hit, many pollsters suggested that Starmer and Johnson have pretty much swapped places, but recent polling by YouGov does still suggest that Sunak is pretty well liked. However, Sunak's job approval rating has fallen to +2 recently, a significant drop from its pandemic high of +43. But still miles better than Boris Johnson and Keir Starmer, who are currently sitting at -48 and -23 respectively. Sunak is also pretty popular with the party membership. The latest poll from November gives him a rating of +53, although it's worth noting that his stock has fallen significantly from July, when he came in at +76. Nonetheless, while he might not be their favourite cabinet member, he's still party members' favourite to be the next leader. Polling from August put him at 31% of the vote, well ahead of basically anyone else. This is presumably because even party members know that he's immensely popular among the general public, and their first priority for any future leader is that they need to be able to win elections. Anyway, you get the point. Sunak is popular with both the membership and the wider electorate, which is why he's the frontrunner to replace Johnson. In second place, according to the bookies, is Foreign Secretary Liz Truss. Truss is immensely popular with the Conservative Party membership, reliably topping the favourite cabinet member polls. This is probably because, despite campaigning for Remain in the referendum, Truss has undergone a successful conversion to true Brexiteer, and has spent her time as Foreign Secretary signing trade deals around the world at an impressive rate, which has enamoured her to the pro-Brexit party membership. Truss has also taken a hard line on both Russia and China, which has gone down well. Nonetheless, Truss isn't particularly well known or popular with the wider electorate, and things are probably going to get a fair bit more difficult for her now she's become chief Brexit negotiator, which has so far proved to be a pretty impossible job. So those are the frontrunners. We're not going to go into too much detail about the other candidates because currently they look unlikely to be the next Prime Minister. But briefly, of the next 5 most likely candidates, current Health Secretary Javid looks far and away the most viable option. Javid has a lot of ministerial experience, having been both Chancellor and Health Secretary, is popular with the party membership coming in at +54, and significantly more popular than the other candidates with the wider electorate. Nonetheless, he lacks Sunak's star appeal or Truss's deep appeal with the membership, which is why he's still seen as an outrider. Anyway, do you think this is worth talking about? Is Johnson likely to be removed? And if so, who'll be replacing him in number 10? Comment your thoughts below. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified every time we release a new video. Special thanks to our Patreon backers who make videos like this one possible, and if you want to see your name at the end of videos, then sign up by clicking the link below.